What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be showing you Jeff's Pyron deck that he played for the Retro Round 3 Campus Championship. So, what is Retro? Great question. Jasco has decided that they want to do an online tournament here in the near future that is a blast from the past. It's playing for the original Red Horizon set all the way forward with a small ban list in the description down below. So, with that said, we had a small error. Pyron is technically on this ban list, but I wanted to make sure that I was super clear, super transparent with everybody about the decks that we played inside of the Retro event. And so we went ahead and we're going to do the deck profile. It has been told to us that Pyron will be legal for the next Retro event. And so maybe this will spawn an idea for you whenever you play Pyron in that event. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into the Pyron deck profile. All right, so Pyron, man, what a cool character. Pyron is really, really awesome. One of Jason's favorite characters. And what I do inside of my deck profiles, as opposed to just reading off the cards verbatim, I'm going to be telling you more about what the deck wants to do and how the deck wants to work. And so the whole point of this deck is I want to play big attack strengths, and I want to put you to a position where you're just not allowed to block. It's just not possible for you to block. And then I'll commit my 2 foundations, and then my attack's going to do 5 additional damage, which is so much. 5 is so much when it comes to an attack. And so with that said, let's go ahead and jump and look at the choices that were made inside of the deck. So we're going to start off with our attacks, and I want to talk about the main lead in attack, just because I want this card to exist inside of my card pool forever. While this card's in my card pool, my block modifiers for all my opponent's attacks get +1. So basically all my attacks get +1 speed without giving the actual stat bonus. As well as, when it's in my card pool and any of my attacks deal damage, they take an extra damage. And so Poison Dart all by itself is a 4 damage attack and gives +1 damage to everything there afterwards. This card is totally fine and totally cool inside of Pyron, just because it's just a little icing on the cake, if that makes sense. Here we have the main kill card and the card that really makes this deck totally viable. We've got 4 Downward Spiral. Downward Spiral is already dropping tons and tons of damage, and playing these late in the chain by destroying our foundations is really, really potent. It can do like upwards of like 16 damage all by itself, and then you commit 2 foundations and say that it's going to do 21, 22, 23 damage with a couple poison darts in your card pool is just really, really strong. Double Downward Spiral inside of Pyron basically means that you're going to lose. There's pretty much nothing you can do about it. Up next, to help out with that, we've got 4 Elegant Death Rows. My opponent chooses an attack in my discard pile. It gets a damage for each printed keyword on it. So with like Downward Spiral, it gets +3. Poison Dart gets +2. And so we're looking at a 6 damage attack, 11 inside of Pyron. And then if the chosen card has the weapon keyword, my opponent discards a card. And so basically, this card says discard a card. Downward Spiral says discard a card. And so I'm discarding your entire hand. So now on every single one of my attacks, I'm giving it +5 damage. Just pow. There's nothing you can do about it. Up next, we've got 4 Macabre. This card is a bit of a loop with itself, and I'll show you the loop here in just 1 second. It says you remove any card that you want from your hand. Your opponent picks an attack in your discard pile. Probably not Elegant Death Road. Definitely not Downward Spiral. And they're going to pick it up and add it to your hand. And then your next check to play a weapon, if the card that they picked, which they all do, have weapon, your next check gets +2, possibly +4 from Pyron. So it basically just confirms your next check. And then the last card that we're playing 4 Evil Bow, just because I want to be able to pick up Downward Spiral over and over and over again. I don't even necessarily care about the 2 check, because Pyron gets to make it a 4 check by destroying a committed foundation. And so I don't even care the fact that we're playing a bad check. On to the actions. We're playing Triple Superior Technique. This card is insane inside of this deck. This card's so good. It says response after my opponent plays an ability on their character card, pick up a Downward Spiral. Seems good. And it also says form, discard a weapon card. The main card that we discard is Macabre. And then draw 2 additional cards. And then we play the Macabre that we were forced to be picked up by our opponent, and then we play it, and then they tell us to pick up another Macabre, and then we Superior Technique the next one away, and then we draw another 2 cards. And it's just like this little loop that we get to abuse inside of the deck. Onto the assets, we're playing triple Magus and Aes. This card just says that I get to splice cards onto my deck, as well as or splice attacks onto other attacks, as well as make sure that my discard pile is exactly where I want it to be. There's a lot of cards inside of the attack lineup that says my opponent chooses a thing, and I want to limit their selection as much as I can. I want selective randomism as opposed to just it being all willy-nilly. On to the foundations. I want to talk about the aggressive foundations first. We're playing triple Shell of a Proud Man. This card says that Pyron, I commit 3 cards and it does 7 damage as opposed to commit 2 for 5. And this is for each, this is at the response speed as opposed to the enhance speed. And so this card is technically better, but it does significantly worse damage output. Onto some flow, we've got double Voice of Reason, just a discard a card, draw a card. Really, really strong ability in order to make sure that I can find the attack cards needed. We're playing double Weapon Master. This card works also in the same vein as Macabscure. After my Macabscure deals damage, I'll discard it from the card pool and then continue to play out my turns. This card says flip, make my checks a little bit better because there's nothing in the card pool, and so I have to use Pyron less, which means I get to string out bigger, longer attacks. We're playing 4 Recovering Lost Treasures. This card works as a little baby Magus and Aes, as well as a little baby Pyron. Flip, discard a card, shuffle a card from my discard pile back into my deck. My next check gets +2, and since it's face down, it's a really easy target for me to blow up. So it's possible that this card all by itself gives +4 to my check, and I get to still choose what attacks are inside of my discard pile. We're playing Double Season Guide. This card is just information the card. I'll play this at the top of my turn, and then now on turn 2, it's really safe to do a bunch of strong going in plays. I know what I'm going to be checking, and I can do the +2 math with Pyron in order to play. If I accidentally find a 4 attack hand string, I'm probably just going to kill you because of how Pyron works. Up next, we've got triple Reporting as Failures. It's just a draw card as well as just flip, add 3 cards from my discard pile to the bottom of my deck. I don't want those cards in my discard pile so that as we're making these randomized choices, they're a little less random, once again, more controlled. And then remove, draw 2 is just, honestly, it's a very good effect. Up next, we're playing double Profane Sanctuary. Breaker 2 negates Pyron's ability, or I guess Pyron negates Breaker 2. Breaker's way more way more common than Pyron is. And so response flip cancel breaker just means that once again I've got another face down as good fodder for Pyron, as well as I didn't have to blow up one of my foundations in order to keep pushing in on my kill turn. On the defense, we've got double J Popstar. It just says first enhance. I play katanas once per turn. I'm going to lose X Vitality and then discard that card from the card pool. Up next, we've got double High School Crush. Check a 4 -1 speed. Yes, this fills back up my discard pile, but it's just really easy non-committal minus speed. Basically, every attack that my opponent plays has -1 for each High School Crush, as well as the little extra hand advantage after it gets built into my staging area. I've built it in, and then reveal the top card. If it's a foundation, I can add it back up. Really strong with... oh, I guess that doesn't work. Never mind. Never mind. Ignore me. Up next, we've got triple Fei flip -3 speed. Hey, I'm gonna for sure block this attack. I'm positive it's gonna work. We're playing double Face of a Monster. After an attack is played, it gets minus speed, possibly another -1. And once they go to deadlock, they're going to discard another card. One of the easy ways to beat Pyron is to try and over-defend, hold a bunch of cards, have a ton of effects on your staging area because you don't have cards in your hand. And so in order to limit the cards inside of your hand to block with, Face of a Monster is just that extra deadlock threat. We're playing double TK Mastery. After my opponent increases their speed or damage, I'm going to decrease their speed or damage by whatever zone that I want, or from whichever stat that I want. If you increase speed, I can decrease damage or speed. It's my choice. If you try to draw cards, I'm just going to put it, I'm going to make you discard it. One of the ways to beat this deck, if I'm committing cards already to putting all my eggs in one basket with Pyron in order to make sure it happens, if you've got to pay 3, draw 1 card, and it's the last card in your deck, I'm just going to say no. Please don't do that. We've got double Outworld's Heiress for the same way. If my opponent has some way to interact with me inside of their staging area, I can take and toss it up to their hand, or take and toss a non-block up to their hand, and then discard it later. I don't necessarily care about the cards being inside of their hand because of how much discard abilities that I have. We're playing double Water Freezes. This is a mandatory inside of the Void symbol at the moment just because of how crazy good Pure of Heart is. Pure of Heart says that if it's discarded due to an effect, my opponent, the person who discarded the Pure of Heart, takes any 2 foundations they want and puts it up into my card pool. So it just ends my entire turn, takes the 2 best ready foundations that I have and tosses them up. I just can't do anything else. And this is just form commit. Pure of Heart doesn't have an ability. It just says that it just don't work. Up next, we got double caught red-handed, kind of in the same way as Esoteric Yoga. It's just after my opponent tries to draw any number of cards or add them to their hand, I just cancel it. This is really good for Punch and Judies. It's good for Shadow Slicers. It's good for just draw 1s, draw 2s. Hey, knock it off. I'm gonna make sure that I can push my damage through. And then the last card is Double Wear Light. This card says that it does 2 things. Number 1, it says that my opponent's attack gets turned off enhance-wise. I will just enhance, flip, choose an ability that they cannot play as an enhance in their staging area, and force them to play it. Since they can't play it, they have to pass, and then I will pass, and we'll go straight to blocks. Otherwise, there is an attack in the game called Big Cyclone that says, if my opponent were to attempt to discard a card out of my hand, cancel it, and play Big Cyclone into the card pool. And then it absolutely it's a 10 damage attack, and it demolishes all of my cool abilities. This card says, your attack, commit, discard a card from my opponent's card pool. And so I can just discard the Big Cyclone outright as long as this card is on the field. If you know your opponent's playing Big Cyclone or Pure of Heart, you got to make sure that you are mainboarding and then sideboarding the extra answers in both of these cards. And that's it. That's Jeff's Pyron deck. If you like this deck, make sure you check out all of the other matches that it played, as well as the other matches from this week's Retro Campus Championship. Once again, sorry that this is not a legal retro character. We on the ban list that we gave out, I missed Pyron being on that list, and so Jeff was well within his right when it comes to I guess our tournaments playing this character. But he is not. Once again, Pyron is not legal for the first official retro JASCO sanctioned event. With that said, though, if you like the matches and you want to see them live, please go out to twitch.tv/TCGUniversity. Follow out there. Subscribe if you're feeling it. And get notifications whenever we go live every Tuesday, as well as if you've got a cool Pyron deck that you want to play for not this retro event, but the next one, let us know by going out to patreon.com/TCGUniversity. Sub out there, get access to the Discord, and chat with us. Jeff was absolutely in love with this character. He really, really liked this character and everything, all the cool things that it could do under Void. And so make sure you chat with him out on our Discord. So from all of us here at TCG University, thank you very much for watching the video, and stay learned.